Good morning, everyone. Welcome. This is the morning meeting, the final episode of the week, which means at the very end, spoiler alert, are winners, losers of the week and what to watch for this weekend. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss that. But there's so much more. Dan, run through the format of the show.
Sure. We like to kick it off with the day book, the pool for the day, the media pool. Talk about what everyone's got going on from Congress to the president with their schedules, and then discuss the latest topics. Looking forward, though, not looking backwards, and we model this after the newsrooms that do something similar every day.
Sean, how do you do?
A plus all around, definitely.
And Sean, why do we like to have people raise their hand and ask questions? What's the point of that?
Wait, we have an audience? What?
Well, sometimes there is an ethos of peace, love, and understanding. As long as what, Dan? As long as you don't do what?
Put smack in the chat.
That's right. That's why our theme song is a yacht
Boy,
rock
I missed
song.
Here's why we've opened the show that way. I'm no fool. I know I'm about to be replaced by AI, and so I'm getting ahead of things and just exiting the show. Thank you all who submitted AI-generated potential theme songs for this program. I can tell you, if you want to win, if you want your song to be picked, do what little Jimmy Fitzgerald of Des Moines, Iowa did in his submission. All handcrafted. Jimmy and his friends in the school band have submitted a song, and I think it's probably the front runner right now because again, it doesn't have that synthetic feel. Paul, can you play Jimmy's version of our theme song?
Which one is Jimmy's version?
Yeah, none of them are Jimmy's. They're all synthetic. Anyway, thank you for your fake
gospel rap. We got it all.
Futuristic submissions. We're still going through them, and phone lines are still open. So if you have learned how to use AI to write songs, feel free. Here's what we're lacking so far. We don't have reggae. We don't have reggae. We don't have a Mercy beat sound version, and we don't have a Jackson 5. Jackson 5.
No ska. We need ska.
We need ska and country. Anyway, there are lots of. My point is, there are a lot of genres left. There's no southern rock. There's nothing. There's no Taylor Swift.
All right, can I ask? There's a question I want to ask both of you, and since we're on this theme, I threw this randomly out the other day, but then I want to ask you if there's one band that is currently still in existence that only one more band you could see live or performer, because it could be an act. Who would you have to see? That's it. You get one more
that you've never seen, or you've seen them before.
No, you can see. I don't care. You could have seen them every night.
No, Paul Wilkie and I would say Paul McCartney. That's easy.
But you don't want him with Ringo? Just Paul. Just Paul.
Just Paul. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I don't know. I've been thinking about this. I can't figure out like who the one. I mean, Christopher Cross always comes to mind. It does it for me. But I don't know.
I'm with Mark. I mean, if you could get what's left of the Beatles to come together and play, that would be pretty magical.
Come together right now. All right, here's the day book. Again, if you're here on the two-way platform, we want to be in the conversation. Tell us your favorite band, favorite genre. Please jump in. So there's an old saying in the Trump family: if you can't make peace between Ukraine and Russia, go the next best thing. Armenia and Azerbaijan. They've been at war for, I think, 4 years. And today, something that you go to a Green Bay diner, you go to Berkeley, California, Austin, Texas, anywhere in the country, they'll tell you highest priority for the president of the United States is to spend his day presiding over a peace outbreak between Azerbaijan and Armenia. So
should the Nobel Peace Prize just be given now, or should we just keep the suspense and wait?
I think Tim Cook should just print it up on a 3D printer and bring it by. Anyway, the president has a full schedule starting at 2:30 because peace is something that happens in the afternoon. He greets the prime minister of Armenia. He has a bilat with the prime minister. This is at 2:30. Then he has a signing ceremony that's closed press. The bilateral meeting is in the Oval and it's pool. So if you're worried that there's not going to be enough content for two-way tonight, which Dan's co-hosting with me this evening, don't fear. There's going to be a lot of content. Then at 3:10, he leaves the bilateral signing ceremony and then greets another president. It has another bilat with the president of the Republic of Azerbaijan, 3:15. then has another closed press signing, and then a trilateral signing that's open to the pool at 4:15. So that's 2 announced opportunities for the president to talk. And I'm sure the White House press corps shouted questions will primarily be about the indices and what's that diplomatic word? What's the word for like provisions? Yeah, all the various provisions in this trilateral peace deal. And I don't mean to make light of it. It's fantastic for the people of these 2 countries, but it's a fascinating way for the president to be spending his day. And Sean and Dan, I don't remember a president having this, like 2 leaders coming, separate schedules, and then being brought together. I'm sure it's happened. I just don't remember it. That's the president's day. The vice president, don't know what he's up to, but I bet he's doing something because he's a hard worker. House and Senate still out. 5 o'clock Eastern in California. I hope this event's covered live on MSNBC. Texas Democratic lawmakers, the ones, a group of them who are on the lam, are doing a press conference with, you guessed it, Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi. Smart. 5 o'clock Eastern. Again, Noah, I'm warning you now, I'm going to want to feature that prominently.
Yep.
On Two-Way tonight. Dan and I are going to break it down like it's a Zapruder film. It's going to be so interesting. All right, let's go. Thank you. Let's go now to the news. Our top story, the waiting game. The whole world is waiting to see if Putin and Trump are actually going to meet. A lot of reporting out of the White House today leaning into the notion that it's going to be at the end of next week. Here is 103. When is that? When is this truth from? 103. Is that from today or is this yesterday? I don't know. You don't need to put this up. Put up 104, please. Put up 104. When is that? When is that from? Is that from today or yesterday? That thing.
That was
put
from
up
last night.
Last night. All right. Put up 104. Wall Street Journal has a very good piece about how we came to have a Putin-Trump summit. It's pretty good. I don't want to oversell it. I didn't learn much from reading it, but if you've been, focused more on other stuff, it's a good primer. Here's my friend Jennifer Jacobs, now of CBS News 105. She says they're still working on the modalities of a potential Trump-Putin and maybe Zelensky meeting, but UAE and Rome are looking like possible places, maybe Hungary. No decision yet. So
I'm going to say, by the way, I rule Rome out for a variety of
I do too.
Yeah. Also, the residence, I think, is undergoing some sort of renovations. I think he liked UAE. He likes the pomp and circumstance of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I think it's UAE or Saudi or who got left out of that one
Geneva. Geneva. What about Geneva?
I don't know. Geneva. The problem is presidentially, you've got you could pull it off, and it's quiet.
Maybe if you pull the tariffs down, then they'll let you in.
Yeah. So I was very bearish that this was coming together, but based on everything I've heard and seen in the last 24 hours, I now think this will happen the end of next week. Everybody agree?
Yeah.
Dan?
No, I don't know, because I go back to what we said yesterday, which is if you do this, you have to come out with a deal, a good deal. Otherwise, you've embarrassed yourself.
Yeah, but there's two separate issues. Does it happen, and do we get a deal? And I think that from what I'm seeing, I agree. We talked about it yesterday, but I'm telling you, I still think logistically they're plowing forward.
Yeah, and here's the thing, Dan. There's no alternative. He's got to get this. What's that phrase? Off the schneid. Is that the thing? Off the schneid. He's not inclined to, and doesn't believe that walking away and sending arms or having the Europeans send arms to Ukraine is going to end the killing. There's no rational reason to think that.
Well, it depends if your goal is to end the killing or to not let Putin get more land. That's the question.
I mean, I'll tell you this, Sean, I don't know if you've noticed this. It sprinkled in the news coverage in the last 2 days, and I believe it's in the Journal story too, is the notion that the Europeans and Zelensky have gone back to the U.S. and said, even though for years everybody's known that this is going to happen, and this deal, if there's a deal, is going to involve ceding land, Crimea plus, that the Europeans and Zelensky are back to saying, no, Putin can't have an inch.
Yeah, well, that's silly.
Well, I know, but have you seen that in the coverage too?
I can't say that I have, but I haven't been looking for it.
I've seen it in a couple stories. It seems insane to me.
Maybe I'm just trying to ignore it.
Yeah,
I know it is. I mean, just look, again, is that right? Is that what we should have? No. Like, just so we're clear, I don't support that. but I don't think it's realistic that you're ever going to have any kind of a realistic deal that doesn't involve that. Now, do I think that if Trump says, if Putin pushes back and says, only under these conditions, Trump says, great, then we're going for it all or something. But right now, the only way that you're getting any kind of lasting peace, which I'm still skeptical of, I think it would have to involve ceding a good amount of area that they currently occupy and that has historical ties to Russia.
I think the big thing is going to come down to, are there peacekeepers from outside of Ukraine kept in kind of like a DMZ, trench, with the Ukrainians having a military? Because it sounds like what Putin really wants is no military presence. Ukraine disbands their military, which is to say, we shall choose when to slowly take the rest of your country because you can't stop us.
Well,
that's why I think this is going to be interesting what the ultimate deal is, because Putin might be willing to buy into some of this, but you're right. I mean, I asked this at Kellogg the other day. I just don't trust the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, if you, as I said the other day, and I'll reuse it because I always try to sell my good lines 3 times. When you're making a deal with the devil's in the details. Like, they're making a deal with Putin. Like, the only way the war is going to end is a deal with Putin. And so, by definition, you're making a deal with a guy you'd rather not make a deal with. And Putin's not going to say, this seems good, I'll give you Crimea back. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, no, they're not going to get their land back. But yeah, anyway. Yep.
Well, but again, I've seen it reported now that the Europeans are saying, no, we can't set a bad precedent.
Well, then the Germans can retake it.
Yeah, how about this? You shouldn't have bought their oil back in the day. You shouldn't have continued to flow gas from Germany. Yeah. So I don't need to be, when they want to step up.
All right, moving on. There's some issues on which President Trump loves to toggle back and forth. For instance, on immigration, he loves to say no path to citizenship or legal status, and then say, we're going to have a path to citizenship and legal status. Netanyahu needs to end this quickly and not violate human rights and not starve people. Netanyahu has a free hand. We seem to be back on free hand. Here's number 107. Netanyahu this morning announced, even though some of his military doesn't want to do this, that they're going to go in and take Gaza. Satellite images show Israel building up forces for a possible ground invasion of Gaza. That's consistent with what the government's saying formally. Here is U.S. Ambassador to Israel, former Arkansas governor, former Hee-Haw host Mike Huckabee on Fox and Friends. And we won't show this part, but the final words of the interview, Mike Huckabee said Shabbat Shalom, which he did not learn in Hope, Arkansas. I can tell you that. Play tape.
They need to disarm, leave, and never think they have a future in Gaza again.
Talking about Hamas, not Israel.
It's absurd that they would even suggest that they're the good guys and that everybody else are the bad guys. These are the people that raped women in front of their families, that beheaded babies and put them in ovens, that mutilated the bodies of their victims even as the family members watched, and who burned elderly people as they sat in their wheelchair in front of family members, including children. These are people that have held hostages for over 700 days, and they have the audacity to think that anyone is to blame but them. It's why that, frankly, Israel has made the decision they've made. They cannot let this continue to go on. We saw the videos last weekend of hostages. You want to talk about starvation and hunger? The hostages are starving. It's a tough situation, and Israel did not start it, but it looks like they're the only ones who are going to be able to finish it.
So, Sean, as long as there's not pictures of starving children, is it right that the president has basically greenlit Bibi doing whatever he wants in the short term, at least in Gaza?
With conditions, I think.
What are the conditions?
Well, I think they have to be clear as to what the targets are, how aid will flow going forward. I mean, I think, we've gotten to a point. The Hamas, the problem is Hamas understands that the only leverage they have is holding hostages. The second those hostages are gone, they have no leverage, and it's game over, big time. So at some point, Netanyahu has to say they're not going to give them up. We need to do what we need to do to get them back. And so I think, again, within reason, it's all right, do what you have to do.
Dan, I've seen reports. I haven't talked to any hostage families directly, but I've seen them quoted saying they're against this because they're afraid it will lead to the death of their loved ones. Does Is Bibi basically saying, as Sean suggested, we'd love to get him out, obviously, but if we can't get him out and they get killed in this operation, that's the only way to end this thing and not let it drag on and put Israel on the defensive over the duration of it and the starvation. So does it seem like Bibi to you has made that calculation?
Yes, I think the calculation is they're going to die here, whether it's through us coming in or they're starved to death or, whatever. They're not giving them up, which is obviously a gut-wrenching thing to hear, even if perhaps it may be true. I think the interesting thing is then what? Like, if they're going to go in and now take over all of Gaza, are they going to now rebuild Gaza? Are they going to take it up? Is it theirs now forever? Because that's the question. Because
Bibi says no.
Well, he said we're going to take it over and they're not going to be allowed to come back. So what does that mean? Because if the moment you leave, they're going to attempt to rebuild this. I mean, so I don't know.
But I think the short-term plan is to move the civilians out to camps and then destroy Gaza City and everybody in it, and then see where things stand.
Well, but just think about that statement. I mean, just think about what you said. We're going to move 2 million people to camps.
Well, not 2 million.
How many are there?
Well, there are 2 million people who live there, but I don't think you're going to try to move them all.
Well, you just said you're going to flatten their area because that's the only way you're going to get rid of the tunnels. You're going to get rid of everything.
Yeah.
So you're going to move 2 million people.
Yeah, I think it's closer to 1 million. But
okay, I'll be generous. It's 750,000 people.
Yeah,
you're going to move 750,000 people. Yeah. You're going to flatten their land to go get all the tunnels and all the things that are under the hospitals, the schools. Okay, who's rebuilding this and who's caring for 750,000 people? I mean,
Witkoff and Bibi will figure it out. Don't rush us.
So hold on. That was going to be my next point then, Mark. We are going to rebuild it.
No, we are not.
No. Well, Saudis and Emirates will rebuild it.
So we are not going to be involved.
Well, no, not involved. We'll oversee it.
Trump will look at the plans. He'll approve the plans. Yeah. He'll ask for some plaques, but we won't be doing it.
You own it, gentlemen.
No, we're not breaking.
Okay,
Bibi's breaking it.
So, right. So if Israel struggles, are we going to say good luck, guys? No, we're not.
Nah.
We're getting our hands on there.
All right. The Fed yesterday, President announced the guy from the Council of Economic Advisors is going to fill the 4-month term. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Miran.
I got a guy.
You want to do the Fed, dude? Come on.
I need to clarify one thing. How does the chair of the Fed get picked? It has to be someone who's got a seat, right? You can't impose a Fed chairman on the Fed who doesn't have a confirmed seat, right? Am I right about that?
I don't know.
I
keep reading that. So this slot here's what's confusing to me. Well, not that confusing. He's filling this slot now.
Right? It's like the Supreme Court.
Yeah. So he's filling this slot now, but it seems like he's saying it's temporary. I have no indication from conversations I've had that this is a tryout. So guy fills until January. Then they have to put someone else in the slot unless they think that the chairman is going to step down. Now, sometimes when the chair has an unexpired term, but they're no longer chair, they quit because they don't want to go from being chair to rank and file. Associate justice would be the metaphor using what Sean said. So either they're going to use this slot or they're going to use the slot that is vacated by the chair when the chair steps down.
So I'm not, and we're doing this on the fly, but I understand it to be very analogous to the Supreme Court, meaning that you are concurrent in those jobs. So actually like the joint chiefs too. I mean, like you're not, so when you nominate someone, you're nominating for that seat to be chair. So that position, January 31st, will still just be a board position.
Correct.
And then they would have to be simultaneous, like you still have a chair until May, which is what Powell is. So you would get a second bite at the apple, but that person necessarily wouldn't be chair.
Right. So
you'd have to nominate a new chair.
So Bloomberg has elevated a new candidate to frontrunner status, and I believe they might be right. And it's someone who I previously dismissed. But Mr. Waller, who's currently on the Fed, Bloomberg now says his favorite for Fed chair among Trump team. Not really sure why they care about Trump team. It's really just Trump and Bessent, as far as I can tell. Do you guys have a point of view about Waller and whether he's now the front runner?
I agree with your analysis. I mean, look, it doesn't matter what the team thinks. It matters what he thinks. And I still think a lot of the folks on the team actually do support Kevin Hassett.
Yeah, I don't think so. I respectfully disagree. I'll tell you my point of view this morning. I reserve the right to change it later today. If you're going to Ladbrokes with a $5, put it on Waller. That's what I think. All right, Dan, you want to weigh in on that or move on?
I got no. Still think it's after Labor Day?
I don't know. All right. Tariffs. The Japanese are begging for clarification. The Japanese prime minister, now this is translated, so who knows what he said in the original Japanese, but he's quoted in English as saying something like, we're speaking of Trump in terms of the ambiguities in the preliminary agreement, said, we're dealing with someone who's not a normal human being, which is an excellent quote from a Japanese prime minister. And it shows the degree to which the head of Japan, the head of Switzerland, who's been hanging out in Washington trying to see the president to get trade relief, the degree to which they're really cross-pressured. They have to deal with Trump and suck up to Trump, but they can't ignore their domestic politics. And India is an incredible situation. The Indians are talking to the Russians, they're talking to the Chinese, and they're still trying to get things worked out with the United States. So let's just, you talk about any country you want, but I'm eager to hear from you both on India. Where are things headed with India now under the current circumstances where they're being punished for dealing with Russia and they're still playing footsie with both Russia and China? And it's a huge market. And, you know, Modi says we're never going to let our farmers be undermined by a trade deal. Sean, if you're a $50,000 a month lobbyist to India, what would you be telling Modi about how to navigate this?
Well, so I've always, I mean, Japan and India to me have going back through, you know, the Doha days when I was assistant U.S. trade rep, are the two of the toughest countries to nail down. I mean, it's squirrely. They commit to stuff and then they back away from it. They've always been that way. So I wouldn't. I mean, they're trying to play the game like that. That's the deal with that. I mean, I think those are going to be elusive regardless. India in particular will go anywhere that they can to find a better deal. They're not going to give up much market access. This is all about them continuing to play we're a third world country issue over and over again. I don't have a lot of hope for India. It's a unique situation because it's the secondary tariffs that they're also getting hit with because of their trade from Russia, and they don't care. India will just shop the best deal over and over again. Japan's a little bit of a unique situation as well because you've got the prime minister trying to put a coalition deal together under the guise that I'm the guy that can get a deal with the U.S. But the fundamental problem with these trade agreements is you've got the framework, and then you've got kind of the actual, you know, tariff schedule that comes in behind it. And that's the hard work. And the Japanese really want to see that because it, you know, when you talk about autos in particular, that matters to them. And this is just I don't even think that the EU's tariff schedule has been completed yet. I mean, this is just going to take time.
Yep. Dan, I'd love to hear you talk about India, but pick up on any country you want in terms of where you think we're headed.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, there's one, let's go back, Mark, to what you've said now since Trump started all of this, which is the big bargain, the big enchilada out there is China. Well, the linchpin.
I prefer you not say enchilada. I prefer you say egg roll.
Okay, the big egg roll. Good, yeah. Well played. Is China. Well, the two biggest players in the neighborhood are India and Japan. So one, if the long game is China, you're doing a great job of pushing them towards the Chinese. So I just laugh at this. Two, there was a statement Trump made, I think it was in regards to Japan, when they were talking about the domestic investment in the United States, in which he kind of said to the reporter, well, there is nothing in writing. They're going to do whatever I say, which was comical, right? Just utterly absurd. It was one of the kind of just most ridiculous statements I've ever heard. He has no power to direct private enterprise in Japan. He has no power to direct the sovereign funds, but it's indicative of how he thinks. So to me, and I'm being serious here, there are no trade deals. What's remarkable is everyone's saying he's racking up trade deals because, and I say this again, all he wants is the headline. He's a day trader. So he's telling people and networks, everyone, we got deals. This is the next deal. There's nothing. There's nothing.
Well, okay.
Not yet.
I will say
not
that.
But hold on a second. The headlines are, we talk about a liberal media. This is the conservative fog machine, like a PhD class. Have a presser. All these countries have mastered. Kiss his butt. Say in public, God bless Donald Trump. In private, it's like whatever.
But
so
Dan,
here we are again.
It's too soon to say. You're right. It's too soon to say they're great, but it's too soon to say it's going to fail.
Mark, there's no paperwork. There's no deal. There's no deal.
Well, there is. Look, Commerce does put the tariffs rate schedule out. So
tariffs are different. There's no paper on a single.
But tariffs. But the tariff schedule matters. That's what brings in revenue and gives us market access in other countries.
All right. Hold on, because we can't do a rerun. And we got 4 more topics to cover, or really 6 actually. So we're going to speed through the next 6 topics and then take your questions. Yep. Please raise your hand if you'd like to be in the conversation. All right, guys, snappy for the next few. President has said a couple things this week about finding it intolerable, how unsafe DC is. Again, for those of you who haven't spent time in DC or don't have friends in DC, it's worse than Chicago. I mean, there are neighborhoods you cannot walk in. It's so different than New York, which is actually pretty safe. Sean, the DC government's been surprisingly quiet about this, as I've just looking at the press. Will the president put significant federal assets on the streets of DC for a sustained period, or is this just talk?
No, I think that they're going to be in significant tourist areas. So you'll see it on the National Mall around monuments, the Smithsonian area, and sort of just off the mall. But I believe that you will see some there. And look, I've said this before, and it's a reminder of this what's happening, because when you don't feel safe, it doesn't matter. When you walk through DC, and I talk to a lot of the cops, people keep saying, well, crime is down. Crime is down when you don't enforce it. And so we'll go into a CVS on 14th, 15th Street. Everything's behind glass. You can't actually walk in. No one in the Navy Yard area where the Nats kind of play, if they're still technically a team right now, you don't feel safe in those areas anymore. And the problem is that the cops aren't enforcing the law. They aren't going after people. You've got gangs riding up and down the street in a lot of areas. So I don't really care what the stats say that the DC government put out. If you talk to any single person who spent time there, they don't feel safe. And I think the president, here's why I think this issue is important. If handled right, this could be a huge winner, because people want to feel safe and know that they're safe. They've got to be careful that they don't overreach on this issue, though.
Dan.
I totally agree with Sean. It breaks my heart, having lived there for 20 years and my family's still there, how unsafe DC has become. And I will say this, I don't think you're going to hear a lot of pushback from Democrats, because most staff live on Capitol Hill and in the Navy Yard and in 14th Street. I'm going through neighborhoods in DC for those who are wondering what I'm saying. They will tell you how much it has changed since COVID. They will applaud quietly that their neighborhoods will be safe again to walk their dogs at night, come home from date nights and everything, and not worry about being mugged or carjacked or whatever, or their houses broken into. But reporters, staffers, all of them, they're going to quietly cheerlead this.
The amount of people I know that live in the Navy Yard that have personally seen or been tangential to an attack is staggering.
Staggering.
I mean, those townhouses 3 blocks from the Capitol that are multi-million-dollar townhouses that are populated by companies, lobbyists, they will all say to you, because I say, has it really changed since I moved away now almost 5 years ago? They're like, it has.
Oh, yeah, it has. All right. Next, again, let's move quickly, gentlemen. 2 things on Maxwell. First, CNN, closing the loop on a story from earlier the week, 109. CNN says that the dinner at the vice president's house was canceled, but they just had it at a meeting at the White House, although they're a little vague about who actually attended. But they say there was a strategy meeting. And of course, we've not seen anything new on the question of the release of the video, or audio, or transcript of the Deputy Attorney General's interview with Maxwell. I want to ask you one more question, and I'm asking with the knowledge of forethought and more than Spidey sense. Dan, what do you think the reaction would be if Donald Trump pardoned Maxwell?
Outrage.
Or commuted or sent.
Yeah, bipartisan outrage.
Sean, most people I've asked give the same answer as Dan. what would be how would the president think about this if there was a reason he was inclined to commute her sentence? What would he be thinking would be the two things? What would he be thinking the upside would be, and how concerned would he be about the criticism he would get?
I actually think about this differently. I would say he would be under the impression that he was going to be able to say that they got something from her, further information. I think if anyone who sells him on this is lying to him. My point, and that's why you're like, what is his reaction going to be? I think this is very akin to Comey, right? When he fired Comey, he was told, "Oh, if you fire Comey, everyone's going to cheer you on," and he missed I think people misled him on how that was going to go down. I think this is similar. There will be outrage like never before if she gets a deal. This will transcend partisan lines. That I don't know what Ghislaine Maxwell could possibly tell you. Now, could you?
She's going to exonerate him, and that's what he wants. Is her out?
But I'm telling you, the reaction.
Do anything. That's all he cares about.
Right, but I'm telling you, if that happens,
I agree.
The number of people that care about this issue, care about those young girls, care about justice for so many of these people that have gotten off. I hope to God nobody in the White House has led him to believe that that's the case. That there would be a smart move.
Stay tuned. All right, let's try to go. Let's try to go quickly on these two. Democrats are talking about. I couldn't even give you the whole list. Medicaid. They're talking about redistricting. They're talking about Trump's violations of norms. They're talking about tariffs. They're talking about inflation. They're talking about all sorts of things. Dan, two-part question. What is the best message, not for the midterms, but currently, if you were a Democratic senator or House member or the chair of the DNC, what's the single best negative frame on the president right now, or positive message? What's the best message, and who's currently in the party being the best spokesperson for that message?
No one is currently the best spokesperson in that. I think the message is going to be two-part. A check on power. I've been told that polls at 70-30, just saying Trump needs a check. Even if you like him, he needs a little balance.
Yeah.
And the second is he's doing things he said he would not do in terms of Medicaid. Like it's something that everyone can digest. Now, I think White House is smart and they know this. They're going to try to finesse that, but just a check on power because he's doing some things that he promised you he wouldn't.
Sean, Americans love divided government. Is Dan right? Is that the best message?
It's not. It may be the only message. I don't know that they have a ton of choices right now. As I've said before, like we just talked about crime. The other big issue is the economy. I mean, there may be some fault lines, but I don't know that people are screaming from the rooftops yet, blah, blah, blah. Therefore, I'm not sure. So, I mean, the check on power is probably, if they sell it right. The problem is that this other theme, like everything's an outrage to the democracy, the world is falling apart. It's hard to then be like, but we can be the responsible check on it. So,
and that, Sean, to your point, the biggest problem is I think Trump's going to try to push him closer to the sun on the impeachment stuff, which is the more he cranks it up, the more they're going to get people on the base saying impeach the SOB.
Right.
That would be a killer for the check on power.
All right. Last question. There are some platforms that shy away from the hard truths of Laura Loomer, not us. Don't treat Laura Loomer like a joke because she's the shadow White House personnel director. Here is a post on X that many of you didn't see because you don't spend your day following Laura Loomer around. Here's what Laura Loomer said. Can you make that bigger? Because I won't be able to read that. Let's see.
Oh, I'll do it.
Oh, go ahead. You read it, Dan.
What if I told you a high-level official in the U.S. government had an account on a sex solicitation website and regularly engaged in swinger activity? You have my attention now. Would anyone even be surprised? I wonder how long it will be till it comes out. A lot of things will then start to make more sense. All caps, a lot. Tick tock.
Sean, in your experience, is Laura Loomer bluff about things like this, or you think she's got a very specific person in mind and this is happening?
I would take all of your money and bet on Laura right now.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to tell you who I think it is in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, sorry, someone muted me. It was an 8-second delay.
That was the two-way lawyers muting you.
Exactly. In any event, watch her space and our space because this is quite something. All right, here we go. Winners, losers, what to watch for this weekend, and then your questions. So again, if you want to get in the conversation, please raise your hand. I see a few new hands up. I'm not going to cancel the show if we don't get 3 new people, but I'd like 3 new people. Sean, winner of the week.
Okay, I'm sorry, but this was you guys know I lock in normally on Wednesdays. Not so much this Wednesday. There was Dean Cain as a runner-up, Catholic youth gathering with a million of us at Mass with Pope Leo. But my ultimate winner, Mark, is this. Play it for me, please, Paul.
If Texas redrawing their congressional map would get you 5 safe red seats, means that California, New York, Illinois, and Maryland are all going to redraw their maps to add safe.
Well, they'll do it anyway.
Is it worth it?
Yeah, they'll do it anyway. Why? If we stop over there, they would have done it anyway. Look, a lot of these states, I watched this morning as Democrats are complaining, and they're complaining from states where they've done it, like in Illinois, like in Massachusetts. I watched this lunatic, Pocahontas. She's a total lunatic. I don't know what she's on. She's all jumping up and down like I've never seen anything like it, talking about supporting the communist mayor. And he's not a socialist. He's a communist, okay? This is not a socialist man. This is a communist. If you look at any of his policies and go back 6 months, you don't even have to go back further than that. So they want to put a communist in New York. Now, the good news is we have a lot of power over that because we're the ones with the money. We send the money. We don't send the money. It's up to the White House, a lot of power in the White House. But when I watched her jumping up and down, talking about that and supporting the communists, but if you look at what's going on.
I'll save you guys if you want. You can. I tweeted the rest, but these baby memes, I tell you, there's few things that get me excited during the week. The baby memes and the big sheriff saying, if you do this in our county, you're going to jail. So that was my Friday.
Okay, thank you. Baby memes.
Yes.
We're all the winners with the baby memes. Dan, winner of the week.
All right, Paul hit it. My winner of the week is ESPN. They acquired the NFL network. ESPN's about to launch a streaming platform. Hello content and hello conflict of interest here. I'm super fascinated about where sports media is going.
It'd be like if the morning meeting acquired the Senate.
Yes, exactly. Like I wonder, I've got so many questions about this and I can't wait to see how this plays out.
Yeah. I wonder what the other leagues think about
That's exactly, I was about to say the NBA in particular. Yep.
Yeah. My winner of the week is the good people of Armenia and Azerbaijan. Because they're getting peace. So they're the winner. Sean, loser of the week.
My first loser of the week was every Republican who is thinking of running for president that's not named J.D. Vance after the president kind of weighed in this week. But I'm actually going with Texas Democrats this week because I think there's a ton of irony that they all scattered out to political sanctuary cities in states that have led the way in Democratic gerrymandering. So I just the irony of how this has played out to me has been unbelievable.
Dan, loser of the week.
Paul, hit it. They are usually known to be neutral, but now they are the biggest loser. Switzerland. They not only did the president kind of speak pretty patronizingly of like, who is this? And I don't even know this person. She got on a plane and literally flew here and is like running around DC trying to see him. It's emasculating. The poor people of Switzerland, we have all the leverage. They have virtually none. Sorry.
And I'm told they messed up our order at the 2 Amy's.
Ooh.
That's bad. My loser of the week are all the reporters who tried to nick the vice president by claiming he asked for more water to go canoeing. I could tell from the beginning that the service asked for it. And today, the New York Times, of all places, has a story about this incident in which the vice president wanted to go canoeing with his family, and there was more water put in. And it says the Secret Service boats required the additional water. It was not requested by the vice president. It was not done for him, except to the extent that the service needed it. And I'm telling you, you got to be so careful with these stories. It was so clear from the beginning. And if you know J.D. Vance, of course he's not going to do that. This whole thing was ridiculous. So the news organizations that went with this story when it was so obvious what the facts were. Even from the original stories, it was obvious. Losers. Sean, what are you watching for this weekend?
Russia. We talked, this is the one piece of the story that's not getting discussed. The deadline is upon us. What is the State Department going to announce? What is Treasury going to announce in terms of not just secondary tariffs, but other things going after enforcement of foreign flag ships, et cetera? So that deadline is today. And the question is, what does the president announce? He's the one who moved it up. So I think he's in town. We saw that schedule. He's not leaving. What else is going to be announced today or tomorrow with respect to Russia? Because I think that will impact what we talked about, where it's going to happen.
Dan, what are you watching for?
Laura Loomer's X account.
Well, I was going to say Russia, but I'll do another one since Sean did, which is I'm watching to see if somebody submits a very great country western theme song for the morning meeting. So send it in, and again, try to write it by hand. Don't use AI. Rebecca, welcome in. Thank you for being part of the two-way community. Tell everybody where you are and what's on your mind.
I'm from a little town called Winnie, Texas.
Where is that?
About 30 minutes away from Houston, on the outside of Houston.
Which direction?
South.
Yeah,
south.
Okay. Well, welcome and thank you for being part of two-way. How'd you find us?
I ran across y'all because of Megyn Kelly. Because
Awesome.
of Megyn Kelly. And I just think it's real. I'm nervous. I'm sorry.
Don't be nervous.
Don't be nervous,
Don't be
Rebecca.
nervous.
You're doing great.
Almost everybody who's in our community is very nice and encouraging. And the ones who aren't, forget them.
You're
I
doing
just
great.
think it's really neat because last night I saw Dan I was on Dan in them, and then I was on Monahan.
Yeah, Moynihan Report. Yeah,
that was very good.
it's a great
Do
show.
you want to know about Epstein? This guy was really good about breaking it down, how people are just saying whatever comes to their mind.
Yes,
That,
ma'am.
oh my God, he's a Russian agent, and then they run with it.
Yep.
But he broke it all down. Anyway, I want to say, Dan, I love you. I voted for Trump, love Trump, but I like it because I'm old school because my dad and my grandpa were Democrats. And I'm talking hardcore. I couldn't shop at stores that weren't built union.
Wow.
That's how, it was. And that's when the Democrats really were, for the working class, for the union, how can y'all get back to that?
Are you your family have deep Texas roots?
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Dan, how can you win back Rebecca's grandpa?
It's a great question, Rebecca. I think it starts with having respect for people, not in kind of blue urban areas, but respecting their culture, respecting their way of life, and then having policies that speak to it. I think too often we've become pretty void of substance. And in the last decade, all we've done is screamed about Trump. So I think we've just got to focus on, as Mark likes to say, the real lives of real people. And our tent needs to expand. We talked on the group chat yesterday about this. Just start with the fact that we've run out RFK, we ran out Tulsi Gabbard. We used to be the big tent party. If you disagreed, you were still welcome. We were ideologically diverse. We've become very ideologically narrow with a right and wrong view on cultural issues. And therefore, people feel like you don't respect me, you don't accept me, and therefore I'm not welcome.
Yep.
Rebecca, thank you. Very grateful to you for coming on and hope you'll come back. Thank you.
Boy, isn't that amazing? Texas used to be Democratic.
Yeah.
And Richards, baby.
That's right. Silver spoon.
Yeah. Hold on one second. I apologize. In all honesty, I have 100 screens going on here. All right.
You got to send us a picture one day, Mark, of your setup. Like all the screens, all the Diet Cokes.
Let's go to Stan. Stan, welcome in. Thank you for joining. Tell folks who don't know where you are, what's on your mind for Sean and Dan.
Hey, good morning, guys. Thank you very much. Mark, I've been a big fan since your Morning Joe days, and I once tried to get on your show that was on 3:30 in the afternoons on Saturdays on Newsmax when you had a call-in show. I really like the way that you all do it. you play it straight down the middle because you have all voices speaking. My reason for calling today was because yesterday you had a friend from the Washington Post who said he thought his paper played it straight down the middle too. I think that anybody who doesn't have a balanced presentation are propaganda stations. I don't watch Sean Hannity, and I don't watch Rachel Maddow, and I don't watch Caitlin Collins. But anyway, I was born a New York Kennedy Democrat. Last Democrat I voted for was Carter. Became in business. I'm a capitalist, and I live in Michigan, Macomb County. And, I'm involved with politics, but I'm just happy that the Democrats aren't in control. That's my politics of the day.
And thank you.
My question.
Go ahead.
So you are the Macomb County, the Reagan Democrats that left the party in the 80s.
Well, I was never a union guy, Dan. I was always, I graduated from school and I got a sales job where I was the commission rep. But here's my question, and it has to do with the reality, what's real. Dan, you brought up, I have a question about how the media embraces polling. We have cigarettes that now have a label that says they could cause death, right? And, we have, and Real Clear Politics tries to do this where they put them all together to get a read on what the American population's thinking. Well, if 80% of the polling organizations lean left, there's going to be a bias in that. And I was a Rasmussen guy during the past, and they're out for some reason. I don't know why they've been excluded from, Real Clear Politics. My question is, why don't news organizations say that when Quinnipiac comes out with a poll, whatever it is, and they bring up and they say, by the way, the past 3 elections, their numbers were skewed left or right. And so you got to question what they're doing, kind of like what happened to that lady in Iowa, Mark, that you like so much, that really just destroyed her credibility with that last poll prior to the election. Go ahead.
Well, Stan, we could all give you an hour response. I'll give you 3 points and then turn it over to Sean and Dan, and we'll all try to be relatively brief because we've talked about this issue many times. I've worked within biased news organizations, and I know how the polling works. Truly, the polling in general, not in every case, it's separate from the bias of the news organization. A poll being good or bad is about whether the methodology is good or bad. I don't know a single place where the polling is biased because the news place is biased, and I've seen them all. Number one. Number two, my friend Ann Seltzer, who polls for the Des Moines Register, is a straight down the middle pollster. I used to work with her as a pollster we had hired at Bloomberg. She had one bad poll. It wasn't because it was biased. It wasn't ideological. Every pollster, you have perfect methodology. You can spend a fortune on it, and it's 1 in 20 is going to be bad. It's just the way statistics work. That's what happened to Ann. And there's some question about whether she used the right methodology for that electorate. But I will tell you, it is wrong to say her reputation was ruined, and it's wrong to say it proves she's biased against Republicans, because I can tell you that she's not. Finally, for me, the biggest problem in polling today is not ideological bias. The biggest problem is they're done too cheaply. You do it poll cheaply, small sample, bad screen, unrigorous methodology, you're more likely to get a bad poll, and you're not going to ask enough questions to get a full picture of things. So don't focus on the ideological bias in polls. Focus on how cheaply most of them are done. If it's done cheaply, garbage in, garbage out. Sean.
So I would riff off of the last point that Mark made. But that being said, if you know that, right, and that's the thing, is that they know that they're getting crap when you have a cheap screen, right? So the methodology, both in terms of how you make up the composition of the poll, and then the screen. So how hard are you really trying to get a voter versus somebody who is, a breathing human being? And that's the difference. If you're screening for adults, you're going to get a very different outcome than if you screen for likely voters, because it costs more. You have to pay more to get people who actually have a history of voting. And then you also have to figure out what first-time new registrants are. Is
that me or Sean? Sean.
Dan, go ahead. Go ahead, Sean. I'll pick back up.
Okay. I'll just stand two things. I'll just add to Mark's point. One, it breaks my heart. This is how people are remembering Ann, because I will just say, I think Ann was one of the best pollsters of the last 40 years. Like, if I was running a campaign and could hire one pollster, it would have been Ann Selzer. So I understand how people feel now, but it breaks my heart for her.
And not because she's pro-Democrat. Dan, because her data is the best.
Exactly. She has called races in Iowa almost down to the decimal for both parties in the last 40 years. But nevertheless, what happened? The second thing I will say is polls are statistical models, and you try to guess the electorate, right? So you're going to say, okay, I think 4 Republicans will turn out and 4 Democrats and 4 independents. Well, if it's 5 Republicans and 3 Democrats or whatever, your model can be off. It swung in both ways, because remember, in 2022, pollsters were all predicting a red wave, and it just did not materialize.
Well,
and
the abortion issue took over in that, and that's why.
But they didn't capture, right, but they didn't capture what was brewing, just like in 16. So I know pollsters hate it when they're wrong, right? Because it's humiliating and embarrassing, and it's bad for business. Like, if you're going to hire a pollster as a campaign, a news organization, whatever, if you're like, well, they were really wrong and humiliated. So the industry is trying to figure out, one, how to access more people, 2, to try to get better screens to understand who may or may not be voting, in addition to what Mark had to say. So
thank you.
I just look, the one thing I'll tell you is that in any other industry, if you know you're getting a bad outcome, and that's the point, and that's what both Mark and Dan have said, I agree with it. It costs money to get to do this right, and they know they're doing it on the cheap. So if you know you're doing it on the cheap and you're going to get a bad result, and then you're going to use that bad result to inform the public as to where things stand and use it as the basis of news organization, then you are complicit in this. And this is where I think that news organizations can't get let off the hook. They know that they're doing everything on the cheap, and therefore will ultimately get a bad outcome. That's just, so if you're going to do it, either do it right or don't do it. And that's my problem, is that they're doing something that they're using to create a perception of support for a candidate or a policy or not, and they know that the method by which they're doing it is faulty.
Stan, thank you. Grateful to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
And thank you for your nice words. Kate, don't say a word. Don't say a word. Dan, Kate says she's up north.
Up north, I saw that.
What does it mean?
Well, it's a very Midwestern thing in Wisconsin and Michigan to go up north.
So you think she's on the UP, the Upper Peninsula? Is that your guess?
Yes.
Okay, Sean, where's Kate? What's up north?
I was with Dan, but I'm just going to throw Maine in there just because we've already got the UP covered, so I'll say Maine.
All right, I'm going to.
And it looks a little chilly. I'm
on North Pole. Kate, where are you?
Minocqua area.
Say again. You froze for a minute.
Northern Wisconsin.
Northern Wisconsin.
All right.
Northern Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's
Minocqua
beautiful.
area.
What's that body of water?
Gosh.
What's that body of water behind you?
What's
that body of water?
Are you near Rylander Airport?
That's where my dad used to fly in during the summer from Chicago.
Yeah.
So we are west of Rhinelander.
Okay.
Kate, what do people
on
do
Highway 47?
What do people do on that lake, Kate?
Oh my God, what don't they do?
Yeah, exactly.
Water ski
boats, jet skis. Oh yeah, water skiing.
Yeah.
As long
and
as
swimming.
the water's nice, as long as the water's smooth, it can get really pretty rough. It's a big lake.
Can you swim it? Can you swim in it?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's just a little cold.
It's nice.
Kate, just move the camera and give us one more one more look at it, because this is gorgeous. Look at that.
My ex-wife's family.
Wait, can you see?
Oh yeah, we can see.
Northern Wisconsin. It's gorgeous up there.
Kate, you going to the Packers-Bengals game in October?
I'm a Chicagoan.
Oh, okay.
A Bears fan. All right.
No, not a Bears fan, but a Chicagoan.
How do you feel about the Pope, Kate?
Oh my God, we're thrilled. We're thrilled.
Yeah.
He's a dude. We're super happy about that, and it's very invigorating, I think, especially for young people.
Yeah,
you know, it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing like when John Paul II was named Pope. I was just like, oh my God, it's like a real guy. Like he's a snow skier. Like he fought in World War II.
It's amazing.
Do you snowmobile up there, Kate? Speaking of winter.
Our neighbors do.
Yeah, it's a
our
big
neighbors do.
Up there.
Yeah, but they're looking at getting a place up in the UP, near Powderhorn, because the snow down here hasn't been consistently good.
Yeah.
So
Al Gore can tell you why. But Kate, tell us. Thank you for joining. Thank you for being part of 2A. Thank you for showing us the lake, and tell us what's on your mind for Sean and Dan.
Okay, well, here's the thing. My daughter's the only one who's left up here with me right now, but we had dinner with my older son and his fiance the other night, and it was really, in a way, it was like a little bit of a bummer because I was so surprised. He and his fiance live in San Francisco, and they're both intelligent, well-credentialed, high-achieving people, and they run with a very smart crowd. And, they're both around 30. And they were telling us how their cohort is so downbeat about the future. Yeah. They're just like, no one thinks they're going to do better than their parents. And remember, these are kids that have.
Kate, you're frozen. Let's see if she comes back.
Yeah, the internet is not great up north. I can attest to that.
Yes, it's not. I really wanted to hear the end of this.
Yeah,
I will say this.
Let me go
here we go.
closer to the house. Maybe this is better.
Hey, is it due to AI?
Kate, I'm gonna turn off your video and see if that helps. Go ahead.
Okay. How about this? Am I better?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll come in the house then, where the Wi-Fi is. But so they're incredibly downbeat. They're bummed out about the environment. They're bummed out about politics. They're just thinking things are just not going to be better for us than they are now. And your generation just is messing it up.
Do they have good jobs?
Oh, they have great jobs.
Do they own or rent?
They rent.
Yeah.
They rent. And there's no possibility of owning.
So what did you say to try to cheer them up?
I was so dumbfounded. I didn't even know what to say. You're kidding me. If you guys aren't optimistic about the future, who could be?
Yeah.
And, but so I was wondering, from both Dan and Sean, what are the parties thinking they're going to do to win over these younger people? Because it just seems because the genesis of my question for them that.
All right, Kate, you are freezing at just these perfect moments.
All right, Kate, I'm going to mute you for a minute. You can listen. Sean, what's your party doing to try to appeal to Kate's son and his girlfriend?
Well, I think this is one of those issues about affordability that she was mentioning, and young people feeling like the American dream's out of their thing. That's why, frankly, I think the president should seize on his discussion about interest rates to really segue into a message about home ownership and affordability. And part of this is if the rates are too high, you're not going to be able to afford stuff. And part of the reason, if I were him, I'd start leaning into part of the reason I'm supporting or pushing for lower interest rates is I want to make home ownership and the American dream more of a reality for this next generation that right now probably can't afford houses.
Yeah, except all you're going to do is put more bidders in the market and drive up more prices. Look, this is the $1 million question about how do you inspire the next generation and even the current generation to have confidence, to have excitement that you're putting policies, on the table that are going to make their lives better. Again, I go back to what is our biggest focus? It's Trump derangements. It's why Trump is awful, not what are we doing for you?
All right, Kate, very grateful to you. Please come back and post some pictures of the lake because I can't get enough of that thing. That's amazing. Sean, what do you have tonight?
Two big guests tonight to close out the week. Tyler Pager of the New York Times. That's right. I said someone from the New York Times is on my show. But he wrote that 2024 book on the campaign. He called Biden on his cell phone and got him, and the staff wasn't exactly too excited. So we're going to talk about that call. And then Ken Cuccinelli, former Virginia Attorney General and current chairman of the Election Transparency Initiative, breaks down redistricting. But also the president yesterday said that the census should be redone. Is that legal? Why? Who's a citizen? Who's not? Who should be counted? Breaking it all down with Ken Cuccinelli. Plus, I'm going to ask him about the Virginia races too, because we own all three, and there's a chance that we could get wiped out. So what's the
Cooch? We're in our affiliates. We're going to run a little bit over. Dan and I will be co-hosting 2A tonight at 6:00, and then we're both going to pull a Mrs. Doubtfire because I'm going to be on special report, the panel with Brett Baer, and Dan is going to be on with Laura Ingraham, right?
Yes,
right?
correct. Yep.
Yeah,
I think there's a guest host tonight, but yes, on the Ingram angle. Yep.
All right. So watch us tonight at 6 and watch us do our sleight of hand. And then
I'll be on with Leland Vittert later in the night too.
Okay. And don't forget 4 o'clock. Don't forget today, 4 o'clock, Random Offense with the great Ethan Strauss and his guest, Ryan Glass-Spiegel of Front Office Sports. He is awesome. They're both awesome. 4 o'clock today. If you've not sampled that show, please do. If you've not listened to my new episode of Next Up, where I talked to the former fact checker of the Washington Post, he retired 3 days ago, took the buyout, and we have a very rigorous debate, respectful, but vigorous debate about whether the Washington Post is liberally biased. And so if you're interested in hearing both sides of that argument, please take a listen to Next Up, either podcast or on YouTube. And then finally, Paul is going to choose one of the 10 submitted potential theme songs for this program that hasn't been played yet. And we'll play off the air with that. And remember, please Mark, submit new options and don't send AI ones. Sean.
Unfortunately, I can't be there, but I do want to give a shout out. It's in the chat. Deborah has put it in the link. There is the two-way picnic in Central Park tomorrow. So I just want to make sure I give a shout out to all of you guys who are going to be getting together. Wish you all the best.
Please send us. Please send us photos. I'm sorry to miss it too, but we look forward to a full report. All right. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned now for DJ Paul, spinning a new potential theme song. This is not the Yacht Rock frontrunner.
Yo, it's the dog, and I'm on the two-way morning meeting. Yeah, that's how we start the day. No fake news, no fluff, just real talk for real. We getting down to the facts, know the deal. Got creators and thinkers all in one place. Podcasters, journalists, yeah, we set the pace. No censorship, no change, no traditional TV. Just raw conversation, that's the key.
Yeah, they call it a platform, but it's more than that. It's a community built on a simple pack. You bring your brain, you bring your questions. We bring the insight. From politics to parenting, we ain't scared to fight. For the truth, for the facts, for a civil discourse. Where every voice is respected, no one's getting coarse. We breaking down the boundaries, blurring all the lines, getting into the details, reading all the signs. From executive orders to the latest tariffs, we're talking about it all, no need for any tariffs.
We're talking about the president's schedule. What's he doing today? Signing EOs, making remarks. That's what the news say. About that 401k alternative assets. Check the time. Real estate, crypto, yeah, that's a positive sign. Sanctions on India, a summit with Russia, a ceasefire in Ukraine. We're breaking it all down. Ain't no need for a brain drain. Redistricting's a topic. What's the net gain? For the Republicans, Democrats, we're feeling all the pain. The media's bias, is there a golden age? We're asking the real questions, turning over the page.
So if you wanna get deep, if you wanna get real, two ways the place to be, that's the deal. No matter your subject, no matter your field, your voice will be heard, that's a promise is sealed. We're partnering with organizations and individuals too, for more revenue, new members, yeah we got you. This ain't your grandma's news, it's a new kind of show. A conversation like no other, you already know. Yeah, the morning meeting, we ain't playing no games, dropping knowledge on the mic, yeah that's our whole aim.
Dean, what do you think of this version? You like this one, Dean? Yeah. There you go. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you soon.
Yeah.